Hey everybody, and welcome to the 88th week of the Free Assange Online Vigil series. My name is Andrew Smith, and I am joined this weekend by co-hosts Steve Poikinen and Misty Winston. We do have special guest and songwriter Jessie Jett with us, and we will get to that in just one moment. But first, I do want to run through the numbers with everybody. This is day 3,742 of the illegal and arbitrary detention of Julian Assange. It is day 696 since the WikiLeaks founder was trafficked from the Ecuadorian embassy after being sold to the US and the UK for a $4.2 billion loan from the International Monetary Fund to the nation of Ecuador. It's been 695 days since the political prosecution of Ola Bini began at the hands of the Ecuadorian government. We have 63 days since Vanessa Breitzer's January 6, 2021 ruling denying Julian Assange bail after ordering no extradition and personally ordering his release on January 4th based on the conditions of U.S. prison systems and mental health concerns. It is day 1,366 of federal incarceration for whistleblower Reality Winner. It is day 359 of freedom for Chelsea Manning. And in the latest blip of good news, we have 7 days of freedom for Jeremy Hammond, and he is facing 3 years of rather intense parole, I guess would be the word for it. But nonetheless, he is out of system housing, I guess would be the way to refer to that. So that is some good news there. How are you doing today, Steve?
I'm barely here, man. I am. I haven't even been awake for an hour yet. I'm not really sure what's going on. I definitely am not wearing pants. Misty,
Here.
how you doing?
I am wearing pants. I am definitely wearing
Fully
pants.
panted as well, I can assure you.
We keeps it family here on the Free Assange Vigil.
Yes, we do. So yeah, I would like to go ahead and welcome to the Pants Free Vigil.
CEO of
My
Anti-Pants.
friend, my friend, he is an amazing artist. Jessie and I interviewed him on our show recently on Facts on the Ground. We did like this long marathon live stream where he performed multiple songs. We got to like dig into the lyrics and really talk about it and flesh out all of the songs and where they came from, which was like my favorite thing in the world. So today we have the amazing Jessie Jett on the show. So Jessie, thank you so much for joining us.
No, seriously,
Yeah.
I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, of course. So what has, I know you've gotten like quite a bit of reaction after having been on Facts on the Ground, not to like pat myself on the back, like, yay, great show you have there. No, but I mean, I know that a lot of people were really into it, and especially the Assange piece have really shown you a lot of support. So what has that been like?
It's been incredible. I mean, I think I mentioned to you the other day that if I could have handpicked any piece of mine to get that kind of attention, I would have wanted it to be the Assange piece, for obvious reasons. Most of my other stuff is reactionary to the shit show of American politics and not so much focusing on an issue that you can put a lot of time and effort into actually seeing some hopeful change from, So yeah, I think within the first few hours afterwards, to have Juan Passarelli reach out to me was huge, and I got to do a recording of it for him, and we'll kind of see where that goes. But it just, again, to get that kind of response from people that are so entrenched in the fight for Assange's freedom was just surreal. And when he got the audio file yesterday and messaged me back, I was at work and I got a little overwhelmed. And again, it's one of those moments I think we spoke about when I was on Facts on the Ground, that sometimes you're kind of doing your thing, you're reading about what's going on, and someone at work comes up and goes, "You all right? Why are you crying?" You're like, "Assange, man, it's a long story. We don't have time for it right now." It was one of those things, but it really was. It's still, the last couple of days have just been surreal getting to see the response to that. It's been really, really, really touching. So
big shout out to the big homie Juan Passarelli too.
Yeah,
I love that guy.
Amazing. Yeah.
I adore him. He's one of my favorite people in the whole wide world. I tell him that all the time. I hope he doesn't think I'm like weird stalkery. Like he even mentioned it last time he was on. Like, you always go on Twitter and tell me I'm your favorite. And I'm like, he probably thinks I'm some weird stalker. I'm really not one. I just really love you. That's all.
And same, I had to say, it means so much more coming from you than if it was anyone else saying this touched me, because he obviously knows the situation, and
Intimately.
And so that's still, that's always going to be something I can come back to. Like, yeah,
that made me really happy too, just knowing that, because so many people I knew once people heard it that the Assange community was going to be overwhelmed by it. Like it really is a powerful piece. So I was like nervously, like anxiously waiting for it to like see people's reactions to it. And it's all been, about what I expected. Everybody's just really blown away and they love it. And, I can't wait for you to be able to perform it, maybe at some of our protests or something, that would be amazing. So it's definitely a very powerful piece. I'm super happy that you've had such a positive reaction. And I think that really just speaks to your talent, your ability to find the right words to meet the situation. So it really is a powerful piece. So it's been cool to watch kind of the reaction to all of that.
And I got to say, it was weird trying to record it. It's so much different when I'm doing something like this and I'm reading it for you specifically than when I'm thinking about it and recording it, because then I have the opportunity to go back and redo it. And that's the pitfall. I did several versions and I never felt like I was really getting across the emotion of what I wanted to get across without sitting there and holding this mic and just yelling at it in my car for a long time,
Yeah.
And I told my wife too, I came in from one night where I'd done a few takes and still wasn't happy with it. And it's draining. It's a 4-minute piece and you run through that several times and you've just been through the ringer. Like it's
so emotional. I mean, every time you read it, it's like an incredibly emotional experience, really.
I can't read it and not feel what I'm saying, and if I did, then it would be a shitty recording anyway.
Right. And you just mentioned that you were sitting in your car screaming into a microphone. Mm-hmm. For people who may not have already seen our interview or may not be familiar with you, can you tell everybody where you record all of your music?
Yeah. I'm a dad, and so my recording time when I wanted to start making music had to be somewhere that it wasn't going to wake my son up. And so it's late at night in my car in the garage. That's the closest thing I have to a soundproof room. And it actually works great for vocals because I get no echo. It's me and this Shure mic that can plug into an iPhone. And that's what I do all my production and recording and mixing and everything on. And that started out of necessity. And now I wouldn't change that if I could, because I can record a little something for a sample anywhere. If I need to make a song on the fly on my lunch break, which I have, go to the Walgreens parking lot and hold up and, just try to keep up with everything that's fucking happening. So that's been a blessing that I can do that anywhere. And now, like, I wouldn't know what to do with a home studio setup, and I wouldn't want to be reliant on that, I don't think, because it fits more with the urgency of what I try to do. And honestly, it's a blessing in disguise because people are a little more forgiving of your mix if they found out you did it on your phone in your car. So you don't have to have it perfect. You just have to have it clear enough for them to know what you're saying. I don't worry about making it like crystal clear. If it sounds like the second to the last mix, I'm happy with it.
And the way that people have made whole concept albums out of like novels, shit like that. I want somebody to make a concept album out of the collected writings of Whitney Webb.
Oh my God. Come on, that's impossible. That's impossible, dude.
You could do it. You could do it with a guitar, a bass, and drums, and fucking 2 chords, because it doesn't matter what the instrumentation is behind it. That shit is pure punk rock.
It is. It's just a lot. There's no way that could fit in one album, homie. That's a lot. You could make a whole album of just the acronyms that she has stored in her brain.
The challenge would be distilling it into 2.5-minute long punk songs.
Right.
That would be the challenge.
Yeah, that would be a challenge. Yes.
They'd be 14-minute Mars Volta songs. I don't think you can 2.5 minutes.
Challenge accepted.
It would have to be speed metal to get it down that fast.
Right?
But
You'd have
so
to get that
Jessie,
guy, the fast talking guy. I don't remember his name. The micro, what was it? What was that dude like in the 90s? The micro racers or some shit. Do you know? I'm aging myself right now.
The commercial.
Yeah, the guy that talked
Yeah.
really fast, the little toy cars, and he was like, and
Micro
like,
machines.
Yeah.
micro machines. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Nice.
I remember.
Yeah. We'd have to
Going
get
back to
that
being a dad, I probably have one of those with arm's reach. If I didn't move, I wonder if I can grab you. No, actually, for once, no. I cleaned up.
No, not this time.
Usually, it's underfoot. It's whether I want it to be or not.
Oh my gosh, stepping on toys is the worst. Oh, I'm so glad I have girls though. They weren't really ever into Legos, so I've never had to experience that. So
3 boys.
Oh, my girls
Three
have
of
the
Three.
metal connector toys that you actually have to have like screwdrivers and ratchets to get together.
Oh.
So there's just like industrial waste on their floor. It's terrible.
Nice,
But Jessie,
Andrew.
I did want to ask, could you talk a little bit about your transition into political music? Because
Yeah.
I understood. Yeah,
No, sorry. Sorry, did you want to finish?
No, you're good.
Okay. I mean, I've been a musician my whole life. I've written a lot of political pieces, but it usually just stayed poetry. It stayed something I did fairly privately. I had moved to the Florida Keys, which is where I met my wife, and we perform as a duo together, doing some originals, wide blend of covers. But again, I had a handful of political songs that one night at a gig in the Keys, I pulled out one of them, and I had a guy come up to me, and he made a point to tell me how much he loved my set except for that song and how I shouldn't do political music. And that just rubbed me the wrong way so much that after that I was like, you know what, I'm going to do this song at every gig now, just because of that guy. And it wasn't until quarantine happened really that my wife is a phlebotomist. She works at our local hospital, so she was going to be around it. And once I started thinking about writing a couple political songs, it didn't make any sense for me not to share them at that point. I was like, what better time to say whatever I want to say with music? And I decided to go to Twitter instead of trying to share those songs with friends and family and let that fallout ensue. I went to Twitter and tried to find politically like-minded people to share those songs with. And it was the most rewarding thing to be able to sort of cherry pick your demographic, because not only have I not faced a lot of backlash that I would if I was sharing these songs in just public spaces, but I've gotten so much appreciation from people that I feel like understand me way better than a lot of my friends ever have, because I'm talking about the thing that we're told not to talk about, you know, which that's the biggest hoax we've pulled on ourselves, is that you don't talk politics. But yeah, being able to find people that I can say whatever I want on a record and get that was so rewarding that all of a sudden I just started writing more and more, and trying to keep up with the discourse every day led me to looking back, and between March and May of 2020, I had written 24 tracks for about 90 minutes. And so that ended up being my first album, which was called The Virus.
Which you can find on Bandcamp. Go get it.
And Spotify,
Really good.
Apple, etc. But that was a lot more. Those songs were written in burst fire. I mean, there were a couple nights I did 2 songs at a time. I would do another song the next night, and I was just spending 4 hours every night chugging coffee and sitting in my car in the garage and just trying to keep up again with the discourse, which I couldn't do after that. I had to take a step back and write a bit more thought out pieces, because I was just getting sucked in a little bit more than you can if you have a family and a full-time job, you know, and still want to sleep. Which I did. I sacrificed sleep for a long time. And my wife at one point, she was like, I just need to know, like, is this who you're going to be now? Because we need to plan if that's the case. But she's been incredible, because I did go from this being something I cared about privately to something that I'm so involved in. It's what I think about and talk about, whether she wants me to or not. And she's been amazing about it. And again, once I got that feedback from people, I started writing more and more music. And then I just finished my second album recently, which is Inauguration Gift, which I'm especially proud of, because I took a lot more time with.
Also on Bandcamp. Go get it.
And yeah, again, it just making that switch all of a sudden now, like post-radicalization Jessie couldn't go back to writing some of the same stuff I did. Like I have tried, and I'm just like, what am I doing? You know, and same with what I listen to and watch and enjoy. It's a little different now. I look at everything through such a different lens, and I wish I could listen to music the same, but I'm really just so involved in making music anymore that I don't seem to. I rarely listen to other music anymore.
So one of the things
and credit to your wife for being so supportive, because I know, well, I don't know, but my husband deals with that same stuff. Like when we go somewhere like work related for his work or whatever, it like I know he has to be freaking out. Like, please don't let her talk politics. Please don't let her talk. Please don't let her bring up politics. Please don't let. And so I know he probably gets a little nervous.
Yeah, no, she's amazing. She really is.
Yeah. Sorry, Andrew, I cut you off.
No, you're fine. You had talked a little bit, Jessie, about bridging the gap between like private support and public advocacy.
Yeah.
Could you talk a little bit about what you think could help inspire other people to take that step, whether it's through music, through activism, or what have you?
Gosh, I mean, usually the shortest answer I give if someone asks what do I think someone can do now, I think we overlook how few people are on the same page on just the basics. And that's what we got really close to with how bad things got during Trump's presidency. Was for once everybody was talking about politics in a way that they didn't before. And it was all bad. It was all negative, but so many more people were aware. I couldn't remember the last time that many people knew the names of so many cabinet members, you know? I think for people have a tendency to just say that this is kind of how it is, you know, and resign themselves to not being able to do anything. And I think as soon as we're all willing to say that it can absolutely be better, that's the first step. And a lot of people don't think that's worth taking the time to say. I think once we can all have a conversation about, obviously this country can do better than this for us and should be doing better. Once you feel like inspiring that in other people, I think it's just about finding whatever cause closest to you. I think right now, more than anything, mutual aid. I think looking out for people in your community that are without food, without rent money, without housing.
I'm so happy you just brought that up, because Jessie and I just interviewed Keith McHenry last night from Food Not Bomb. Steve interviewed him recently, and he's awesome. So yeah,
and that's one of those things people realize how much good that can do in times like this. And all of a sudden they're supporting socialism. You know, they didn't realize it, but that's, you know, I mean, that's us using our resources to take care of one another. It doesn't get any simpler than that. And I think that's the most important thing that people can do right now is your community and trying to help either, you know, homeless shelters or food banks or
your neighbor, just your neighbor.
Yeah.
You know, go knock on your neighbor's door and see how they're doing. Ask if they need anything, you know?
Yeah.
And for the chat, Slow News Day chat, and see, I know you guys were asking, I just dropped the Bandcamp link and Jessie's Twitter account link. If you guys want to check that out, highly recommend both albums. Seriously, I'm not kidding. I wouldn't say that if I didn't love it, and I love it. So
thank you.
Go check it out.
It's also in the Rockfin chats too.
What?
I also put it in the Rockfin chats for everyone.
Oh, okay, cool. Excellent. We'll put it in description boxes or whatever else we need to too. And I can tweet it out later. I get distracted if I try to do too much, like Twitter, chat, show, you know, my brain's a little
it's interesting you asked that too, because that's kind of what I, for my next album, want to focus more on, is a little bit more deliberate of suggestions for what people can do now, because I don't want to just keep retreading what a burning shit show we're in, because people are aware of that. And I don't want to just keep harping on those same things, because at a certain point, people, not that I can offer a lot of hope, but I want to feel like I'm offering something a bit more solid for them to walk away with.
Yeah, and I like the idea that you reimagine yourself, you know, like we talked about that a little bit when you were on Fox on the Ground. You know, you like to, you don't want to get like wedded to one sort of genre or, you know, style or whatever, and which I think is really difficult to do. I think especially once an artist, I mean, I'm not a musician, so I can't pretend to know for sure, but I think once you find something that's successful, it's really hard to kind of branch out. So it's cool that you are constantly looking to like evolve and move in different directions.
Yeah. And honestly, it was doing a couple interviews, you know, especially doing doing Facts on the Ground, when I got the response from people that got to watch these songs stripped down and played acoustic, it's so much more intimate and so much easier to get the message across. And it's more natural for me anyway, because that's what I've been doing. I mean, I started playing out like solo gigs around 14. I was homeschooled. My parents were super supportive of me playing music, so they let me book gigs in coffee shops and whoever would book a 14-year-old to play music. So I played music my whole life. So all of a sudden being able to put that into a cause, especially something that I'm so passionate about, has just been kind of the best fusing of everything. It really has felt like, especially Juan Pastorelli reaching out about conviction. That was one of those moments where I felt like I'm absolutely doing what I'm supposed to be doing, you know? And that's so rewarding. I can't even explain it.
Yeah, that was by far one of my favorite episodes of Facts on the Ground. I mean, we've talked to a lot of really super cool people, and but being able to sit down with you and go over these amazing songs, like really in depth, like really dig into the lyrics and talk about where they came from and what you were thinking and where the kind of energy for what you're doing comes from and all of that stuff. That's like my favorite thing in the whole world to do. I mean, we had interviewed the singer from Nation of Language. That's probably not right. Maybe it is. I don't know. God damn it. I'm so scatterbrained today. But yeah, like talking to me, like it's fun too, because, you know, Jessie and I talk about, like we do here, we talk about a lot of really depressing shit, like, you know, the torture of journalists and genocide and war crimes. And it's not fun. Like it really sucks. It's very depressing. It's like there are days that I mean, when we had to go through the Julian Assange trial and there were the 3 days of medical testimony, I don't think any one of us wanted to touch that. Like none of us wanted to cover that, report on it. It was brutal. So being able to have on a musician, it's, and even though your work is political, so it's not really an escape from that. It's just like a breath of fresh air where it's not just talking about doom and gloom, you know, it's talking about art and music. So yeah, that was by far one of my favorites. Being able to go live like for a really long time. Jessie and I love to talk to people for a long time. That
was so much fun. Seriously, the next time you guys want to have me, we'll do another 3 hours easy. I'm bringing a sandwich, because that was like, you can ask my wife. That was my dream interview, was like, let's take the time and talk about each song and get to dig into it. Like seriously, I
always get super nervous.
You enough. I really
can't. I have a tendency to like do that, like talk forever. And we've gotten that a lot. Like, man, this is the longest interview. Justin Jackson said that. This is the longest interview I've ever done. But he also said, this is my favorite interview I've ever done.
There you go. Exactly.
House, like, this is the longest interview I've ever done with somebody. But he also says that was one of his favorite interviews.
I get that from Whitney all the time.
Yeah. I'm still afraid to have Whitney on my show. So once I grow up hair,
we'll make that happen, dude, because there are so many people.
Dave, I'm seriously just gonna go, hi, my name is Misty Winston, welcome to Facts on the Ground. Talk, Whitney. That's all I'm gonna do.
No, it's not. It's not. It's not. Look, man, you can I don't know, dude, there's so many different ways to go. Like, there's so many different ways you can go about interviewing someone. There's so many different ways you can have an exchange, and even if it's as impersonal as like camera to camera from 1,000 miles away. And when I get artists on, I don't ever want to talk about their work. I never do. Never. And I don't know why. I don't like if you've got a new album out and you need to push it, you know, we're gonna work that into the conversation. But if you're here, like, we're gonna find out how weird you get. You know, like that's where
Slow News Day's new tagline. We're gonna find out how weird you get.
That's where we're going. Like, and so like when I had R.A. the Rugged Man on, I'm like, talk about Julian Assange, you know, fucking like, what's your personal opinion on Mike Pompeo and shit like that, you know, because he samples Mike Pompeo and his fucking work and shit like that. Like, you can pull from what's in the songs and then like try and throw it into some, you know, obscure corner of the fucking realm of esoteric knowledge or some shit. And yeah, dude, they go forever. The interviews do.
I love to talk to people for a long time. You get to know them more. You can like dig in deeper to things that you're talking about. Like Jesse's songs, we got to like kind of go like tear apart the lyrics. Like, I mean, I felt like I was like he would perform and I'd be like, okay, here's the lyrics I like. And I'd like reread the entire song. I kept saying, I'm really sorry. I'm like just rereading your whole song again, but I like them all. But that's fun. Like being able to really dig into the songs. It felt like, oh God, what Unplugged
inside the actor studio?
Yeah, inside the actor studio or like Unplugged or something like where you get to like really talk about the songs and hash out where.
Oh God, what's that guy's name from inside the actor studio?
James Lipton.
Lipton. That's yeah. You gotta come at it like Lipton. You do like put on.
I'm not even gonna lie to you guys.
Van Dyke and everything.
Yes, I'm not even gonna lie to you guys. You guys know I don't really watch movies, but like I don't, and if I watch movies, it's rare that I remember them all. I have severe ADHD. It's very hard for me. So I'm not really into celebrities or actors, but I used to love Inside the Actor Studio. Yeah. And I highly recommend the Robin Williams episode. It is unbelievable. And he, in fact, a woman had to leave and go to the hospital with a hernia because she was laughing so hard. So check that out. Seriously, I'm not kidding. It's amazing.
Awesome. And if you want to see a great Inside the Actor Studio with someone who isn't a joke thief, check out the Dave Chappelle one.
Come on, man. Why you gotta trash Robin Williams? Have you seen that man's brain work?
Joke thief. Fucking thief.
Every comedian in the world is a joke thief.
To the point to where when people were on stage and they were trying to work out some new shit and somebody would be like, "Yo, Robin!" Like they just fucking put their mics down and walk off. Like, nope, sorry, not getting ripped off tonight. Sorry, Williams. Ain't gonna happen. Ain't gonna happen. There's some people that I need to thank though. That girl, thank you for the super chat, Susie Harkins. Dude, it's just we're overwhelmed and humbled that anybody would want to help us get to DC in the first place, but we're super glad that you do. There was a Rockfin. No, that was on a different stream though. So Rockfin's weird because when you get a Rockfin tip, or Glory, a Super Ray. Are you happy now? Glory Jones, are you happy now?
Oh, I appreciate it.
When you get one of those, you get a text message. And so like if I'm live streaming and I get a text message and it's like so-and-so gave you a $2 tip or something like that, then your first inclination is to go to the live stream that you're on to check, but no, it could have come from fucking
2 weeks ago. Like the show. Yeah. Like people will watch a video of mine, like because Jessie and I don't live stream, at least not yet. Eventually, maybe we'll work up to that. But yeah, like we'll get like from old ass videos, people come show up, watch, and throw us $2 or whatever. Which I had the most wonderful day of dealing with my creepy stalker trolls yesterday, and I got to like spend an hour explaining how Rockfin works, and how being on Rockfin
censoring people.
It's that I'm a grifter, and that even though neither of my shows are monetized on YouTube, we don't have premium content on Rockfin. I've never solicited anybody to become an endorser on Rockfin. I've never solicited money from anybody ever, period, for anything that we do. I've been doing this show for almost 2 years, my other show for almost a year. I've never made like I spend a ton of money, but I'm a grifter. So, but those people just really need a life. It's so sad.
In order for my albums to achieve like cult status, they have to have dismal sales for their first years, and I'm like super on track for that right now. So it's
nice, good for me. Nice, I like it. Well, we're gonna change that though because it's my goal to make you famous. I think, because you should be. I think that's my opinion.
So Dina, I have 2 banjos. I do. I haven't really picked up strings, to be perfectly honest, since
Steve's a music guy.
I started Slow News Day, but when I bought the second banjo about a month and a half ago, I was like, well, fuck. And so now, like lately, I've been fucking around with it. I'm not ready to bring it. Like I would go grab a guitar right now or a mandolin right now and fucking pick some shit out, but I'm not there yet. I'm not there.
I hear you. No. So Jack wants to know if he can be a Comrade Mindy influencer. Yes, you absolutely can, Jack. Welcome aboard. You can be an influencer.
Fuck it, dude. So real quick, because we did just have this go down. Facts on the Ground and Slow News Day are some of the newest additions to the MCSE network, which has been letting us stream the vigil for about a year now.
Amazing.
As
Thank you,
well.
Nico.
And this is something that I said on that stream, but I want to reiterate it, just because the dude does get a ridiculous amount of hate, and that is out of every single person in the independent media that Action for Assange reached out to over the last 88 weeks. The first, the most consistent, and the least concerned about how it was going to affect their bottom line was Nico House. Putting a show on your network that is your business. This is how you make your money. It's the only way you make your money. Knowing that you have a family, knowing that you have, like, you know, this is it. This is what you want to do when you grow up. To have that and to put on a show with Julian Assange's name in the title twice a week, every week, in the case of MCSC Network for at least a year, knowing what kind of hit your business is going to take because of that, knowing how much the rest of your videos are going to drop in terms of view count because you put out Julian Assange related content, it is honestly something that, like, most people wouldn't do.
Yeah.
You know, even if they support what we're doing, or support in theory what we're doing, or are willing to, like, eventually down the road maybe throw a tweet out or like
retweeting one of our videos, or, you know,
maybe, maybe, but even that's asking a lot. And this dude went above and beyond. And now that we're a part of that network, I would like to say that you guys have no fucking idea what's coming, dude.
No, but you're absolutely right. And the fact that he came to DC for our protests, and, you know, he's always been like just for me personally, he has always been incredibly supportive. Sam Carlisle told me that Sam is a young independent journalist. He's trying very hard to build himself up in an independent way. He doesn't want to go corporate media route, which is really hard right out of college, but he is lucky enough to have a family who can help support him while he tries to really make a go of that. And so Sam, trying to kind of network, contacted literally, I mean, you guys know how Sam is. This guy is relentless when it comes to stuff like this. I mean, he contacted every single journalism school in the country to ask them about Julian Assange, him and his mom. So this guy contacted everybody in independent media, trying to just make some connections and ask some questions and all that stuff. He said Nico's the only one that was ever responsive to him, and that ever gave him any time of day. And Nico is doing good. Like, Nico's okay. Like, his channel is building, it's growing. He's hugely successful on Rockfin. He doesn't need to help any of us. He doesn't need to give my tiny show a shot on his network. But he's doing it because he knows that it's important to lift others as you rise, and he walks that walk. And so he gets an unbelievable amount of heat constantly. And all of those people can go fuck themselves, because Nico is a real one. Sorry.
When I saw that stream with you guys announcing all that, I was super fucking excited.
Yeah.
Because just seeing all of that come together for something like, I know Nico forever has been trying to build not just a network, but a group of people that are willing to be a firewall. So having you guys, like, seeing you step forward into that is just awesome.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, like, the group aspect of it makes me want to do better work. It makes me want to, because I don't want to embarrass any of my friends. I don't want to make them look bad. I don't want to be like the weak link. You know what I mean? So it's like giving me like a boost of confidence, energy. You know what I mean? It's been really cool.
I feel like this was, we pre-announced it back in January, when we had that live stream with all of us and Franco and Nico and Pasta and Fee. And fucking, it was just easy. Like, nobody was like trying to talk over each other. There was, no fucking bullshit. Like, there's
You're right. I really do feel like this was like the most organic, like weird, like this all just came together the way it was supposed to, like the universe aligned and was like, here you go, you people, you know, and it really did like just kind of come together. And you're right. We're all extremely different. You know what I mean? Like we're all very different people. We have very different shows. We offer very different things, but it works, you know, it's really cool. And I'm glad we're adding sports. Cause you know, I like sports. So yeah, that's going to be fun. For sure. We should we should totally do more group shows. I think though, that would be fun. So yeah, Jessie, what else have you, I know you said you wanted to work on a new album with kind of a new direction. Have you started working on that? Have you started writing songs yet?
I have, the one song I dropped the other day, Lord of Flies, that acoustic piece. That's going to be the first one so far. I have a few others being recorded right now. That's the only other one I've written at this moment. Right now I'm, in the middle of finishing up, songs for an EP I'm doing with Awkward. You know, we had done the 10 Demands song together, and then he asked if I was interested in producing and singing on an EP together.
If you guys don't know who Awkward is, he's a New York-based rapper who is kind of the face of the 10 Demands for Justice movement. He doesn't really like to say that he's like the founder or the what. He like when I interviewed him, he said it's just, you know, I kind of have like the most recognizability. Is that a word? Did I just make up a word? Anyway, you guys know what I mean. I'm tired and I'm a little out of it today. It's been a weird week. So Awkward's cool. Jessie, I just want to tell people Jessie's hilarious. So he tweets out, so is it weird to pre-release or early release a song now for an album that isn't coming out until the fall? And I'm like, dude, you probably shouldn't ask people who just really want to hear your song because we're going to tell you to release it. So he did. He tweeted that out. If you guys want to check that out, it's a new song that will be on the new album that's coming out in the fall. Is it still going to be fall, do you think?
It'll probably be summer at this point.
Okay.
This is Fidel Castro. He's trying to get up in my biz.
Oh, that's your new one. Yeah.
It is. Okay, no, this is not.
Okay, so I have like 9,000 cats, so don't be surprised that you could probably, I don't know if you guys in the chat can hear my mom's cat. He's constantly meowing, so I'm sorry about that. But there will probably be cats in the background at some point. That's just how it rolls.
Or in the foreground, in my case, you never know.
Yes. No, the tail. My cat's tail. The one time I was interviewing, who was I interviewing? Jessie. Why am I blanking on his name? Why am I blanking on his name? I don't know. Fuck.
Drugs.
I'm so seriously, my brain's not functioning at all. But my cat Daryl gets up on the table and like all you see is his little tail go across the screen. Little fucker. Ugh.
So I was actually hoping, Jessie, if you could go through Conviction for us, because that's a particularly powerful song.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. It'll make me cry. Give me the vapors again. Damn it. It is very powerful though. And this is like, did you decide to keep it just spoken word? You're not going to put
I did. Yeah.
Okay.
And honestly, I have a few other pieces that I was always on the fence about turning into music or not. And so this switched me over to where I get to do a small, like just spoken word EP that this will be.
Yeah. Which if you guys aren't familiar with Jessie and his style, he doesn't really have one. Like it's kind of hip hop and it's kind of spoken word, but it's kind of a little rockish, but it's also, you know, it's very kind of fluid and it sort of changes song to song. And there's often times where like there's mixed genres on one song. And so it is very fluid. So yeah, which I find interesting all the time. So yeah.
So yeah, this will end up staying a spoken word piece. This is the Julian Assange one. This is Conviction, Winter in Belmarsh. If you thought you saw your freedom, it was truly a mirage. Freedom's locked a cell away from Julian Assange. Our First Amendment rights are by his side behind bars, and the next voice is silent will be ours. Rest assured, democracy is rotting in the dark. Rest assured, we vilified dissenters, pushed out black renters, and tore down their housing just to build a little urban park. God, I tell you, old America really knows how to leave its mark. Blaze a trail, leave 100 scars. Rip your free speech out your throat, demonize the man who told you it was so, and leave him freezing in a cell in Belmarsh, perpetually awaiting extradition, thrown to the wolves of claustrophobia and malnutrition. And all that we can hope is that we catch Uncle Joe in a fleeting, lucid moment of his flickering, senile fascist mission. That maybe we could trick him into thinking Julian was just some sweet blonde middle school Christian. That she got mixed up with a few bad apples, slapped with some charges, and thrown into prison. Joe would set him free without a moment's hesitation under one condition. That he could sniff her hair before she goes back to school and he goes back to business. But if Joe's just had his shots, then we haven't got a chance of getting past his black and white vision. Of getting past his gut reaction to appease all of his donors' sick requests and shape policy and law around corporate mandated decisions. So really, all along, I think Julian was one man standing in a tempest with the fearlessness of true conviction. And if his is the only conviction we see after he shed a light on this country's most poisonous schemes all come to fruition, and we all collectively stare at the ground because we felt like our hands were too tied beyond signing petitions, while he's tortured to death for attempting to warn and enlighten, admittedly not quite the brightest of citizens. And half of this country just won't take the time to uncover the truth, or they just don't mind, so they're quick to dismiss it and say it's a difficult position. Well, then we're back to the comfort of centrist delusion, right back to sleep for the ignorant sheep who resisted themselves into one protracted contusion, twisting themselves into knots to correct all your stimulus check-based confusion, wrapping their necks around their backs as they justify overflow migrant detention or fracking pollution. Then Kamala laughs, and the camera pans down to her shoes. And that footage is 90% of your 6 o'clock news, except for a feel-good story about a man who at 95 years young just made Employee of the Month at Whole Foods. And the $50 gift card means this month he'll afford his prescriptions and meals, and he won't have to choose. This is the machine that a man named Julian Assange threw his body on the gears of for you. So to cry out for his freedom is the least that we can do. Now, best believe the feds will serve to muddy up the truth, but rest assured the temperature in Belmarsh is an icy 22, and that Julian is shivering in a solitary room without a view. Rest assured Obama loves a whistleblower just about as much as he loves weddings where he doesn't get to detonate the groom. Rest assured Obama bought the plot where all our First Amendment rights are going to rot, and then demanded that they carve his smiling likeness on the tomb. So if you come to pay respects to your free speech rights and a somber feeling hits you and you look up to the sky, the answer will be staring you right in the eye to the questions of why and of who. So if you thought you saw your freedom, then they wanted you to. Human rights are mutable, and Julian is proof. Our First Amendment rights are stuck in solitary too. And the next voice silent might be you.
Oh, I get goosebumps every time, dude. So good.
Thank you.
Oh, it's so good. And I know I already said this to you in our interview, but I love that it's not like just specifically about Julian. It speaks about the system, the machine, what he challenged and the reason why he is where he is. You talk about kind of the gentrification and all of that stuff. And that really is. It started
as an accident, honestly, because it's just naturally how I write is I start going in all these directions. And I realized early on I was going to do that. And every time I did, I tried to tie in, how does that go back to Julian? Because it all goes back to Julian. Anything you want to talk about and you can't fucking talk about it,
yes,
it goes back to Julian.
I love it. Because
and so every one of those moments, I was like, you don't have to try to connect anything to him. That's the thing I realized is like any moment in this, I can go back to Julian Assange because it's all tied in. It's all relevant,
and that gets lost in the conversation all the time. People fail to see the connection between all of these fights that we have and press freedom and freedom of speech, which is all directly tied to Julian Assange. He's kind of
to me, it's a deliberate misunderstanding or an intentional, astigmatism kind of thing.
Yep. That issue's been obfuscated so much that people don't think it affects their daily life,
Yeah. And we've said this before, free speech is kind of abstract. Like it doesn't, it's not in somebody's face every day. Like their lack of healthcare is, they have to worry every day about being able to take their kid to the doctor or not having a job or whatever. Those things are very much like day to day in people's faces. It's stuff they have to worry about. And free speech, it's not obvious. They've been chipping away at it. It's really been like a slow slow walk. And so it's really difficult for people to recognize the danger that we're in.
Especially because they can hold up bad guys.
Yeah.
It can be like, well, look, we had to put limits on speech because there's someone like Alex Jones walking around out there. There's someone like David Icke walking around out there. Or there's someone like me.
And they do that on purpose. That's what pisses me off the most, is that obviously they start with Alex Jones. He is pretty universally despised. He's a piece of shit. And so it's really
you start with someone everyone can agree on.
Yeah. And so it's really
he's a misguided comedian with a drinking problem.
I get it, but he's pretty universally he's come on, he's still a piece of shit, Steve. I don't care if he's a comedian or an actor, he's still a piece of shit. And so, but that's why they use somebody like that, because you can get it's manufacturing consent. You can get everybody to agree with that. And then when it happens to somebody who's a little bit less offensive, it's like, oh, okay, well, he's kind of shitty too. And then it's somebody a little bit less offensive, and then somebody a little bit less offensive.
But
and then the next thing you know, you have lefty
were violent to AOC by correctly describing that she was not in any way, shape, or form inside the Capitol during the
for calling out her lies. Yeah. I mean, and she then sends out, which I still find it amazing that it's okay for her, an elected official, to send out a mass email to her supporters to have them go and mass target accounts on Twitter for what she calls misinformation.
I've got links like that in a DM of times where just in the last 6 months where she's called for like dead ass like re-education camps and the legislation that's behind that, and the groups that have been like working for the last couple of years to sort of, run narrative management for the kind of like indoctrination center that they have been pushing. Like, this is not hyperbole. This is not guesswork. We've got white papers and speeches and fucking preliminary legislation that backs this up. There's in my opinion, a fairly small window where we can exercise some free assembly and where we can legitimately talk to people that we wouldn't ordinarily talk to. And if we don't use that time constructively to organize in a post-partisan fashion without trying to push any particular ideology and only focus on things like self-determination, agency, and the ability to communicate without the government stepping in and saying, "Nine's us for Bolton," then let's do that. Let's do that, because Whitney says this all the time. We've been saying it forever. The predator class is united in a way that they have not been before. We're talking about cohesion at the absolute top. And there are always going to be petty territorial squabbles or generational conflicts or fucking, your great-great-grandfather pissed off my great-great-grandfather at prep school, so now I have to destroy you, and shit like that. Like, that's going to happen. It's going to. But the big
high school for rich people,
the big picture shit, they're on board together with. And there are way less of them than there are of us.
Well, not only are they all like on board together, they are very effectively managing us not being on board together. They are very effective at keeping the people divided, which is why they've been so effective at the fact that Steve just said there are way less of them than there are of us. They can get away with that because they keep people divided in every way humanly possible, and keep people distracted from looking behind the curtain. And you got to be worried about an immigrant taking your job, and you have to be worried about abortion rights in Texas, and you have to, instead of focusing on the actual problem, which is the system. And it doesn't matter. Like, I keep saying this, all of our differences and all of our like ideological sparring, none of that stuff really matters until we deal with the system, because none of our opinions matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, yes, all of those things are important, but until we actually have a functioning political system where we can actually have real debates about those issues and real votes on those issues, that shit doesn't matter. We don't even have a functioning election system, and we expect to be able to solve those problems. Come on.
So I don't know
who's being naive, Kay.
I don't know how many people are watching right now who wound up in our Discord chat last night, and it got a little feisty. But I want to echo something that I said there last night, especially as it relates to media outlets or pundits, personalities, shit like that. It's the 13th of March. It's my son's birthday.
Happy birthday! Which one? I don't want to say his name.
He's 15 today.
Okay, so not the one that taught me about Pokemon.
No,
gotcha.
No.
I like him.
He's 9
He's
at
my
the
friend.
end of June. Yeah.
Okay, I don't know if he knows, but he's my friend.
I'm sure he considers you a friend.
Okay, good.
I'm sure he does. Again, it's just an opinion, but it's an opinion based on a considerable amount of research and time spent with, award-winning investigative journalists and whistleblowers and insiders and shit like that. Like, that's my fucking world. We all know that. So in my opinion, we've got a fairly short window of time to seek redress in general. So lead, follower, get the fuck out of the way.
Yes.
All right, because we've got shit to do, and the shit we've got to do, it doesn't have a political ideology attached to it. It doesn't have a team, red team, blue team, fucking Rose Twitter team, what the fuck ever. It doesn't have a team attached to it. What it has is the ability to gain some agency and some self-determination. That's what's attached to it. So we need you to lead, follow, or get the fuck out of the way. And
that's really what's at stake.
There are a number of people whose entire fucking gig it is to park themselves in the way and point fingers.
Yes. Oh, I deal with them all the time.
We need you to get the fuck out of the way.
They're not going to get the fuck out of the way because that's their whole point.
If you go off and lead in your own direction. Do that.
No.
Sure. Get the fuck out of the way.
Those people, that's their whole purpose, though. Like, there are people who are dedicated to stalking my Twitter feed to find things to be outraged about, rather than like holding powerful people accountable. I'm just some chick in Ohio, and they hate stalk my Twitter feed rather than like calling their representative or starting a protest or a march or organizing a mutual aid group or whatever. Like, these people, that's what they do. This is their whole purpose in life, is to I think part of it is that they are sent to discredit. Because that's why, and they do the whole just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks. Because like I was telling Steve before we got started, yesterday I was called everything from like a genocide denier to anti-Semitic to anti-Muslim to a conspiracy theorist, a Russian. Like, I even called it like somebody, I retweeted one of these ridiculous people and somebody said something about it. And I was like, I'm just waiting for them to call me Russian. It's coming. And then literally 2 minutes later, they called me a Russian. And I'm like, see, I told you, they're so predictable. But that's their, like, part of it is to discredit dissenting voices. The other part is to divide and cause drama and conflict. Again, so that we can't all get together and recognize that, we can hate each other, but first let's deal with this problem, Like,
I mean, just that article that got written out of the Daily Beast recently. I don't know if you had a chance to read it, Jesse.
Steve, what did you call it? It's a Twitter thread masquerading as a hit piece or something.
Oh yeah.
They went after Pasta, Fee, Convoke, or Jimmy Dore,
Alex Rubinstein, Jimmy Dore,
Tedros. Just literally just
Teddy
throwing as much shit at the wall as they can at people, because there is a group of individuals actively dedicated to uniting people outside of political ideology. And I'm just glad they're horrified.
Them.
I think it's.
And I have to give huge credit to the people who stick to their guns on this and who don't let that get to them, because and Nico specifically, just because I happen to see how much vitriol he gets. I get some of that. He gets way more than I do. And I know that just me personally dealing with it is exhausting. Like, it doesn't bother me.
Nico doesn't get it like Fee gets it.
Yeah, Fee gets it pretty bad. Well, that's because she's brown, y'all, and she's female, and so they
tiny little brown girl, not supposed to have out of the box opinions.
Yeah,
supposed to just be a good little token and say the fucking neoliberal buzzwords.
I will go to the mattresses for Fiorella. I'm not even kidding. I will go to the mattresses for Fiorella. Like, she is fierce and dedicated and smart And she does amazing work, and people just need to stop fucking with her for real. It gets on my nerves. It gets on my damn nerves. Not like she needs me to defend her. She does just fine all by herself, but it's tiring because she really is one of the most dedicated indie journalists. I mean, her and Pasta both, the work that they've done on election integrity so often gets overlooked. Nobody else did that shit. Nobody was doing what they were doing. No one was going to like a board of election meetings and sitting there for like 9 hours,
12 hours.
Yeah. Like watching ballots get counted and like Johnny Sue's like up all night watching ballots get counted. I mean, nobody did that.
Johnny Buttons is like he's one of the more like slept on and underappreciated individuals in this whole like little sphere that we're in. Fucking dude, I don't know. We talked about it a little bit on that stream the other night, but like the storehouse of knowledge and the potential like alternative career path that Johnny Camera could have taken. The dude's got like aerospace engineering degrees and shit like that. And he's fucking running tech for the Convo Couch because he believes in it. You know, like he could that just could have been like, all right, great, I'm gonna go make several millions of dollars a year coming up with, you know, impressive equations and fucking, you know, just kiss the shiniest part of my ass. And fucking no, dude, this is what he's doing. He's out there in the streets, he's fucking putting his life on the line, he's putting his body in harm's way. And even John, I mean, Johnny's not a towering giant either, dude. Peruvians are not tall people, you know, and fucking so like when Johnny gets heated, dude, it's a sight to see. It really is, man. Love that guy. Hope you're doing well, Johnny Buttons, Johnny Hollywood.
And just in case you know, like Johnny Sue, Johnny Buttons, that's all the same person. Just so everybody knows. We call him Johnny everything. Johnny Kangaroo, Johnny Monkey Butt. It doesn't matter. It's the same guy. Doesn't matter.
Johnny Monkey Butt.
I don't know. I was just coming up with shit, dude.
So Jesse, there was I don't know which song it was, but it was the first one you played on Facts on the Ground from your inauguration.
Militia Intent, yeah.
Yes. Could we talk about that song for a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely.
That's particularly powerful.
Now I got to pull up the lyrics, fam.
I didn't know if you guys were going to want a song. If you want, I have my guitar. I'd be happy to play it.
Hell yeah.
That would be amazing.
Do it. You want Militia Intent, or do you want him to do something he hasn't done yet? Okay.
I mean, I figured if we're wanting to get into something meaty, let's do Militia Intent.
Okay, yeah. I'm just, I didn't know if they wanted to do repeats or whatever. Yeah, Militia Intent's fucking awesome.
And this song, I mentioned when I was on Facts on the Ground that I ended up doing Ron Placone's show a week after the Capitol incident. And last minute, I decided not to play this because I didn't want it to be misconstrued. Because even though I totally support, you know, showing up in an inconvenient place for your leaders and demanding that they do better, I didn't want this song to get swept up in that and have me lumped in with a lot of really far right. Just I decided to not, and that's really the closest to like censoring myself I've ever come is making the decision not to play that song. And
just weird timing.
Exactly. And it felt weird to not, but ultimately I was very glad I didn't. So that's why it was even more enjoyable to get to play it on Facts on the Ground.
I love the opening line to the song. Just saying.
And in January, we were actually, the way our protests timed out around the no extradition and bail hearings, we actually got to be in DC for the 5th and the 6th to witness a live false flag on the ground. It was
Steve and Andrew were. I left that morning, I think.
Supposedly, there's rumor.
Allegedly.
There's a possibility that two people who kind of it was Sequoia more white and Andrew, we need you a DSA name. We'll come up with one. Come up with one.
I like Andrew.
Somebody in the chat come up with a DSA name for Andrew.
Colin Gender Fluid.
I like it. That's it.
We're good.
Write it down.
Hey, before we get into this, I just want to say that Chuck Schumer officially called for Andrew Cuomo's resignation.
Oh, there it is.
And I want to call in advance right now the AOC runs for governor in New York.
It's coming. She's being set up for it.
She's one of the only people that could get away with genociding old people in nursing homes and have people kill some folks.
Yeah.
And I just want to say,
my abuela.
out of everyone on the internet, this group of people here were the only people that would actively call out the genocide that was unfolding as it was happening with
and we got
coronavirus.
shit on.
Yeah.
Conspiracy theorist. Fuck you.
Okay, I'm ready if you guys are.
Go for it.
Absolutely.
Okay, militia intent. You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your hands. Why play civil if you wouldn't listen to 50,000 dead? Now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. Why play civil when all these dead won't make you listen? What's more American than slaying your oppressors? What's more American than liberty or death first? God, I thought we were founded on abolishing the tyranny of those who would starve a village all to live empirically. And I regret that I have only one life to give for my cause now that I can see the cause so clearly. See, I want our leaders, regardless of party, to fear me. Cause I will pick my targets and assassinate them lyrically. I will bring them out into the town square, hook them to the pillory and leave them there. And Hillary, I'll see you there. And Hillary, I'll see you there. You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your hands. No, I play civil with you and listen to 100,000 dead. And now we know our mission, we form a militia, make Congress a prison. No, I play civil when all these dead won't make you listen. Welcome to the fantasy of rhetoric. Welcome to the last of the free speech while we can get it. And I promise you can get it. All you corporate Democrats, second wave Confederates, GOP illusionists, and neo-Nazi bureaucrats. And Stephen fucking Miller, I will see you in the aftermath. When all the laws are dust, there's just moral justice after that. And I would hunt you through the wasteland if it comes to that. So I can rub you in the dirt like a cheap human Brillo pad. See, I could sleep fine when our beds are burning, Stephen, but I'll turn around and run into the blaze to get my pillow back. As long as I can lay my head down, I can live with that. I could deal with the little ash. I could feel like a little of the old me burn with the bad and the rest of my past. The old world where we all lived and we can't get back. The old world where you didn't give and you'd still get back. Where you could rake in 12 billion and give none back. Those days are behind us, the virus will kill all of that. Your wealth is behind us and kindness is meant for the past. Our leaders would bind us and starve us and call it a fast. A sacrament meant for their God that they garnish in cash. And they feed it the poor by the hundreds, that's all that it asks. Its hunger is legion and people in need are all it will have. Our only chance is to starve it and watch as it turns on them. You can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your hands. Can't keep giving us nothing and think we're bluffing about coming for your hands.
I love that. Sorry, I'm like such a fangirl, but I love music. And seriously, can you think of a better fucking opening line to a song than you can't keep giving us nothing and think that we're bluffing about coming for your heads? It's fucking awesome.
Thank you. Seriously, thank you.
Like that makes me want to go like protest something somewhere right now. You know?
That's the one. When the day comes, I get to show up at a protest with, if it's just a mic and a speaker, or if it's the guitar or whatever. That's the first one on the list. Absolutely.
Yeah, dude, I would love for you to come to one of our protests and perform. That would be so dope.
Seriously, one day I have to.
Yeah, I mean that would be amazing.
Where are you?
I'm in West Michigan.
Okay.
Michigan.
We have a couple other friends from Michigan coming to join us.
We do have some friends from Michigan coming to join us.
My dad was from Iron Mountain, Kingsford, Yoopers.
Yep,
bunch of Yoopers.
Nice.
And then on my mom's side, like, pick a ghetto in the Midwest, and I've got family there, and they all come from like Tennessee or Texas. Yeah. But like, I mean, to this day, I've got people in Flint and like, oh God, what's that other little shithole right outside of Grand Rapids?
Dude, that's like you just named 99.9% of Michigan.
Oh, I don't want Allegan.
It might be. It might be.
We all just started shooting off.
No disrespect to Allegan. Sorry, my Alex.
Sorry, Michigan.
No, I will say this about Michigan, man. Like Traverse City it's like somebody picked up the Appalachians and dropped them down into Michigan in terms of like the music scene and the bluegrass scene and shit like that. It is incredible, dude. The Traverse City Bluegrass Festival, or I can't remember what they call it, but dude, that thing is fucking lit, man. It is awesome. I saw like a tubby Spanish dude who just ripped on the mandolin up there. I'm like, and it was just so out of place and so like fucking long-haired freaking Spanish cat and just like Bill Monroeing the fuck out of this thing, dude. It was great.
I love when people shock me like that. Like the other day on Twitter, I saw this picture of this, like, I don't mean to be rude, but pretty obese, like white guy with gray hair, sitting in front of a microphone at like karaoke night or whatever. And he opens his mouth and he sounded just like Prince. I'm like, what is happening? What is happening? Like that, like, what was the chick from whatever that show was, one of those talent shows, Susan something, like came out there looking all mousy.
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden she opens up, it's like voice of an angel, and everybody's like, what is that? I love that. That's one of my favorite things in the whole world. Or
my
like
buddy Will. Out in eastern Iowa, southeast Iowa.
Who?
William Elliott Whitmore, farm boy, white dude, bunch of like train hopper tattoos and shit like that, you know. And he's got this voice that sounds like Richie Havens drank gravel for a month, and you're like, okay.
I love that.
You know, I can dig it. You know, I'll send you some. But yeah, dude, he when my brother was alive, he drove out there to like go find this guy. You know, he's like, wait a minute, dude, you don't make sense, and I want to know who you are. You know, and fucking ended up bringing brought him some of our moonshine and like shit like that, and fucking he's come out a few times. Wonderful human being. Converted a grain silo into a house.
Oh, nice.
Living quarters and studio.
That's awesome.
And recording studio.
Wow.
In a grain silo.
I love
on the
weird
farm,
houses.
on the same farm that his great-great-grandparents had in Iowa.
Wow.
Nice.
Like 6 or 7 generation family farm.
Wow.
Nice.
Yeah.
I'm an atheist, but I desperately want to convert a church to a house. I don't know if that's weird, but I love church architecture. So I don't know, whatever.
Up by me, Missy, there's just completely aside, there's tons of church campuses that are for sale.
Yeah.
Like all over
I look all okay. So here's
let's
here's
pull
like
our stimuluses and make this happen.
Here's a weird little fact about me. I've tweeted about it before, so some of you may already know it, but like I'm obsessed with looking at houses, particularly old houses. There is a website. I'm not getting paid for this, by the way. I'm just telling you, like, I love this website, but it's called Old House Dreams. No, this is part of my grift. Pitching a house website on
Secret
the Assange Vigil.
fucking MLS.
these houses are owned by Russian oligarchs, and so it's really just kickbacks for Putin. But it's called Old House Dream, and if you enjoy old architecture, like I love the way old houses were built, the attention to detail, the woodworking, all of that stuff. It's like thousands upon thousands of these houses that you can look at, and I literally want to buy them all, like all of them. I want to buy them all and fix them up. I love old houses. So yeah, I'm kind of a nerd about that. I'm a nerd about a lot of things, but that's one of them.
My area has a lot of weird historic homes that have those like gambrel roofs with the weird angles and stuff. And I'm a huge H.P. Lovecraft nerd. So every one of those, I'm like, I bet you there's a portal to hell in that house, babe. Look at that.
Dude, speaking of a portal to hell, I was flipping through those houses one time. I wish maybe I bookmarked it. I'm sure I did. But I'm like looking at the pictures of this house, and I don't believe in the paranormal stuff at all, really. I'll say I'm skeptical. I'm not like, is it possible? For sure, absolutely. But I'm an evidence person. But there's like this weird picture in this old ass house. It's like this very like creepy basement, and there's like this weird reflection or imprint of like a man. But it's like see-through. So surely it's a camera thing, but it's just like I'm flipping through the pictures, and I'm scrolling through like just kind of quickly, and I'm just like, what? Scroll back down. What is that? I'm like showing my husband, what is that? He's like, it looks like a man. Like, why is he there? It was a little creepy. Yeah. So, but yeah, that's an awesome website. Everybody should check that out if you're into old houses, which I am. Yeah. So Militia Intent is seriously a dope ass song. And I love too that like when you were on Facts on the Ground, that was the first time you'd ever really played these acoustic, right?
It was, yeah.
So I mean, I
love doing it again. That's part of what led me to want to do that for my next album. And I also am going to be doing probably this spring a collection of acoustic songs off of both Virus and Inauguration Gift. Kind of just whatever a few songs off of each that I feel like would translate best to acoustic, obviously Militia Intent being one of them, and throw them on a little side thing. But yeah, sorry.
If I could make some recommendations for collaborations.
By all means.
I would say reach out to David Rovix. Yes. He's a friend of the Vigil.
Andrew. I was just getting ready to say we should start like an Assange band with like David Rovix and Alex Hills and Steve and Jesse, and like there's a lot of really great musicians.
And Rhyme Sayers out of New York City. They're a small underground album.
I'm very familiar with them. Yeah. My one of my longtime biggest writing influences was always Aesop Rock. Okay. And I was lucky enough to get to see him a few years ago. I drove over to Grand Rapids and got to catch him at a tiny, stinky little nightclub, and it was just one of the best shows I've ever gotten to attend.
I studied Ideas music for probably like 3 or 4 years.
Okay, nice. Yeah. But yeah, Aesop Rock for me, and God, I would love to hear him get political. That's one of my goals, is if I can ever convince him to do a song with me and get him to get topical. And we never got to talk about it much on Facts on the Ground, and I wish I had more time today. But I thought about it afterwards, and easily one of the biggest shifts for me was Lauryn Hill's Unplugged record, because I mean, she just has so much really fiery, blistering, topical and political social commentary that she's just spitting over acoustic guitar. And that was the first time I heard somebody marry those together so well. And the first time I really thought about
her voice is really powerful too.
Phenomenal. Yeah, it really is. And I love that album too. She doesn't sound her best. Her voice breaks on a lot of songs, and I'm a sucker for that. If I can hear some cracks and imperfections, and I'm there. So Lauryn Hill's Unplugged record, seriously, if you haven't heard it before, it's incredible. But that
I genuinely do not like perfect music. Like I don't like that like studio crisp, like
especially now everything's just so wet and overproduced, and that's why I don't care if my stuff in my car sounds a little fuzzy and a little imperfect, because I wouldn't want it to sound too perfect, so I'm not gonna drive myself crazy trying to make a song sound 5 to 10% better over the course of 5 days. It's not worth the time to me.
Well, and that's another reason why I like the way you do your stuff too, is that because you have so much emotion in your voice, and so there are cracks in your voice, and there are like little trembles when you get to parts that you can tell you really care about.
It's also super cold. Inauguration Gift was all recorded. Some of those songs, it was single digits, so even in my garage, it's freezing. I'd be bundled up, have layers on, but I can still see my breath when I'm recording. So when I take a breath, if it's extra shaky, it's because it's just fucking freezing in that car.
Yeah, and that's gotta be really hard. I mean, I'm not a vocalist, but I can't imagine my cold air is good.
Singing, I really couldn't. I had to wait until warmer nights to do some singing stuff. Red Pilled in particular, that song I went out to try to do in the cold. And if you don't get it on the first take, you have to go back inside and warm up again. It's just not a long-term kind of job. But yeah.
So what kind of music could we be expecting when you're going to be recording and it's going to be like 95 or 100 degrees in the car? Like, do you think we'll get something like dramatically?
And I've thought about that, because I'll be recording these acoustic songs. I think mostly spring and into summer, but I would love to do some weird progressive kind of metal, something. Honestly, I love weird technical death metal, and it'd be just for Jessie kind of project, but I think it'd be really fun. There are lyrics that I still wouldn't put out, and if they were screamed and you couldn't tell what I was saying, there you go, just don't publish them anywhere.
That's true.
But no, there have been a lot of things I've been on the fence about, because I've done a few different songs. I actually had a friend's podcast that they asked if I could record a song for it. And I said, was there a vibe you're looking for in particular? And he said, well, could you do like Space Pirates? I was like, can I do space? Fuck yeah, I can do Space Pirates. Let's do Space Pirates. And I'm so in love with the little song I came up with. I was like, honestly, I might have to do some nautical stuff, because it was so much fun to like do my own multi-track vocals and do that kind of Rolling Stones, like we're all just drunk and belting it out kind of thing. It was really fun. So I recorded a few different vocal sets and drank progressively more bourbon as I went, so that the last one was the most robust and piratey of them all. And that'll probably be the continuing theme if I do that. But honestly, right now I'm just focused acoustic between doing Virus and Inauguration Gift songs. And then the next project will be, I want it to just be, a couple guitars at most, and then vocals.
But are you staying with like politics?
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I don't see myself being able to really write outside of that.
Isn't it hard? I tell my husband all the time, once
it's
you
a goal.
know,
like,
you
I'd love to be able to write
unknow.
a happy song again, but I feel like at this point a happy song equates to an ignorant song for me. And I can't sit down and write lyrics, just like I couldn't, write the Assange piece and not talk about what's going on. I couldn't write anything and not do that. So until I'm not seeing that around me and that's not what's coming out of me, I'm just going to have to keep changing genres around that. So it'd be fun to try to do something. It was even less rhythmic than the acoustic stuff is going to be, like some weird freeform jazz that I do this kind of music over. Anything that'll barely hold together, I'm willing to give a shot. So I think acoustic is a fun place to start. Some of the songs, again, I love a lot of metal, so anything I can palm mute on, it starts off sounding like an old Death Cab for Cutie song, and then it goes very Tool or System of a Down after that. And I think doing that acoustic would just be really fun. So yeah. I'm gonna hang around with that for a while.
I love your versatility, like the way that you're able to kind of blend genres, and it's very kind of like fuzzy, and you're not really like, what am I listening to? Like, is this?
And that's again, I listen to everything. I mean, I love Amy Winehouse. I do too.
That's why I love it.
I'm gonna give you a song to listen to, Jesse. It's a buddy of mine in East Nashville. He's a singer-songwriter named Tommy Womack. Big shout out to Tommy. Been a big help to me personally, like unrelated to music or the show or anything like that in the past. And the song is called Alpha Male and the Canine Mystery Blood.
Okay, I've got to hear that.
That sounds amazing. Like,
I would recommend trying to find it with when it's him with the full band as opposed to him acoustic, but the acoustic one is good too. And I wouldn't have thought it, but you brought up Death Cab for Cutie, and that's in the opening line of the song. Is a reference to Death Cab for Cutie.
Oh, that's funny.
That would be amazing.
But
I would seriously love to see like an Assange band. That would be so fun.
Right. But yeah, getting to do these songs acoustic, it just made me realize how much more I find myself even in the song itself if I'm getting to play it acoustic for people. And so I feel like that would probably translate even better on recorded stuff. So
yeah, I think there's something really powerful about acoustic. It just strips everything back, and it makes it really puts the lyrics on display for me.
Yeah.
And I'm a lyrics person. I'm a writer. So that's why I loved being able to like dig into your lyrics. Cause I'm the nerd who, if there's an album that I love or whatever, like I have to like go find all of the lyrics to all of the songs. I want to study them.
Mhm.
I want to like analyze them and figure out like what I think that they mean. And, I love to do that. Like I love music, in that way. So I love when people play acoustic because it really does strip it back and just makes it all about the lyrics and the emotion and all of that. So yeah, having you play these songs acoustic, because I've been listening to these songs for a while, but then hearing them acoustic on Facts on the Ground was like, it was just like really cool.
Thank you. It was a blast for me again.
The
Seriously, I really enjoyed
awesome. I mean, people loved that show. So, so Prol Center says, Jessie, do some She Passed Away.
And by the way, man, goth, post-punk, and dark wave is where it's at, is an opinion. Love you.
That's a take.
Respect your opinion.
That's a take.
That's an opinion.
That's funny. If you said you don't have a lot of time today. Do you need to go? I don't want to.
I do, unfortunately. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't want to keep you too long. But yeah, we would love to have you back on to do more songs. And obviously,
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I want to get you back on Facts on the Ground pretty quick so that we can do some different songs.
Yeah,
so
for sure.
I'll hit you up in DM so we can get that scheduled because that was so much fun.
We've been talking about having a bunch of different like events and teach-ins and stuff like that over the course of the spring and summer. I know that we need massive everywhere International Day of Action on April 11th for the 2 years of Julian being violently and illegally trafficked out of the Ecuadorian embassy. We need a massive public presence for that. So if we have to, we'll help you organize something in Michigan. But if you could get to like Chicago or something like that, then we're definitely going to give it a shot. Awesome. There, I've been.
Is that what we're going to do? Chicago in April?
Well, I was kind of thinking about doing something in LA, but I want to I want to help organize other events. I want to make sure that because you're close enough, Misty, to Chicago to when you are, Andrew, to where you guys could like make it there easier than you could.
I think it's like 6 hours for me.
Yeah,
ish,
it's about
6.5.
4 for me. We could even I would love to do like a weekend train, like a Friday night, a Saturday, and then a Sunday afternoon event.
And I don't want to keep you, Jesse.
Sorry,
get out of here. Get out of here. Please tell everybody where they can find you, find your stuff, and support you. And thank you so much, man, for taking the
you guys,
time to be here. And we appreciate the hell out of the tunes and fucking. Please, like, don't stop that shit.
I can't tell you enough. Seriously, it means so much. It's so surreal to get to have this kind of response and get to share this stuff with people. It means more than I can really express. So for having me on and letting me read Conviction and play a song, it means a lot. It really does.
Yeah, anytime, dude. Tell everybody where they can find you on
Twitter. I'm Jessie_Jett, 2 T's. Same Bandcamp. It's Jessie Jett. Bandcamp.com. I'm on Spotify and streaming services as well. But Bandcamp, if you want to support my music, especially on Bandcamp Fridays, they don't even take their little fee. But usually they only take a very small fee. And that's such a great way to get to directly support me and help me buy a new mic that I dropped the other day. That it's working when I plug into here. When I plug into my phone, it cuts in and out. So we'll see. That's going to determine how long it takes me to do the next record, whether that's a summer or fall project, is how much grief I get from my microphone. But Bandcamp has been great. They've been really supportive of me. And also in the interest of getting the message out, if somebody wants a copy of any of my stuff and money is a factor, please DM me, and I have download codes that you can get the album for free, and I would love to do that. So
that's awesome of you, dude. Thank you so much for being here. We'll have you back guys, sometime where we have a little bit more time. But yeah, thank you so much.
Awesome. Absolutely. You guys have a good one.
Yep. See ya.
All right. Bye.
I love him. I'm just saying.
I put the link to his Bandcamp in chat for everybody.
Cool. I put it in Slow News Day earlier, but I can redo it again.
Oh, I just did it in all of them. I went through.
Oh, you did it in Slow News Day too?
Yeah, the YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Rockfins.
Cool. Yeah, I'll tweet out his Bandcamp link later too, because I genuinely think that dude needs to have more people listening to his music, because it's We kind of just talked about it, but it really is a lot of really powerful lyrics, and it is kind of stripped down and raw and emotional. And, some of the songs are kind of like tongue in cheek, like it's almost satirical. And then some of them are just really like angry and, loud. And, he's really cool at mixing. Like I said, like he doesn't really have like a place, like you can't really pigeonhole him into any one spot. He kind of has a fluid feel. So, that's like my favorite people. I'll stop fangirling now because I really do love Jessie. I get this way about musicians. It's like the quickest way to get me to fangirl. So, yeah. Do we have any Assange news that we need to cover? Should we talk about the protests one more time? What we've got going on? If you guys can, please, Andrew, maybe you can drop the Go Get funding link. If you guys can donate to that, seriously, we need help this time. We got the confusion with GoFundMe, and I don't know if we've got that worked out. I haven't had a chance to talk to you guys about it. But
yeah, the Go Get Fund Me stuff isn't going to show up until like the 18th or the 19th now to be available. So all we have to go on for securing supplies and like making everything happen is the Go Get funding.
Okay, so yeah,
which some of should be to me Monday morning.
Okay. Yeah. So we are kind of in a pinch. If you are in a bad position and you cannot afford to donate, for the love of God, please do not. Don't feel obligated. We're not asking you to. But if you are able to, like, maybe throw $5 at us, we would definitely appreciate it. It will go to a good place. It'll go to supplies that we need for the actions in DC. If you can't donate at all, that's totally fine. We get it. Just share the link, because the more people that see it, the more people that donate. And so it really does help.
Here's the other thing. If you're like if you want it to be used on a direct purchase for the event, it might even be easier to like PayPal or Venmo Slow News Day, like directly, because the transfer process will take anywhere from like 2 to 4 business days, which means it wouldn't even begin transferring until Monday, and it would probably land in the Go Get funding by Wednesday, which means that by Friday it would hit an account to where we could draw and spend it. So if that's something, then here's the other thing, like anything that rolls in after that is just gonna either get used for reimbursement or rolled into the April 11th events, or fucking
mostly it'll probably be reimbursement because everybody's out of pocket right now.
Yeah.
Like everybody is out of pocket on
my
something.
credit score hates me. Not that I really care about my credit score, but holy fuck does it hate me right now. I went like in the hole in January and have not fucking been able. I haven't worked in a month either, my fucking regular job.
Well, I mean, a lot of like, and it's not that I often, am I echoing again? No? Okay.
I don't hear it.
I often spend a shit ton of money out of pocket, which my husband does not like very much. And that's not, I don't care. Like it really, I honestly, I don't care. When I drive down to DC, that's on me. I try to do as much. We really do try to do this as much like shoestring, and use your funds as widely as possible to get the most bang for our buck and stuff like that.
Straight up, dude. It's lodgings, maybe some transportation, especially for like me and Kimber, because we're coming from the West Coast. So part or most or all some of the travel is covered, and then like supplies. Maybe we'll eat. But you usually spend our own money on
I think I bought pizzas $80 on pizzas one night. And again, like I am fine doing that. I just want people to know that it's not like we're like living a life of luxury in DC in like some fancy swag apartment, and like we're just partying and like cocaine and hookers everywhere. That's not what we do.
No, because then
cocaine and hookers are in the bathroom only.
What? They're in the what?
The bathroom.
Oh, in the bathroom? Yeah. We confine them to the bathroom just so, we can't let them get out. They try to get away. It's not fun for anybody to have to chase down a hooker. Sorry, I don't know where I'm going with this. Christ.
I thought we were going to take it into like a.
Is she running heels, Granddad?
But yes,
Well, the
Everybody
cocaine and
knows
hookers
that
thing-
reference, right? That's a Boondocks episode that
Yes.
introduces a character called a pimp named Slickback, and you have to say a pimp named Slickback. It's like Tribe Called Quest. You have to say
Yes.
the
Well,
whole
the
thing.
cocaine and hookers thing, like I know we joked about Mega Brain, that was our thing for Mega Brain, but there's also, if you guys have never seen it, there's a interview at some place like the lottery was like really high or whatever, so like everybody went to buy lottery tickets. So there's this news lady in the place, everybody's like filling out their lottery tickets or whatever, and she like goes up and interviews this guy, and she's like, so what are you gonna do with the money if you win? And he just looks at her and he's like, hookers and some cocaine. And she's like, oh, it's not the answer I was looking for. And it's so great. If you've never seen that, go find it because it's some funny shit. It's really good. So that's why I always say cocaine and hookers, because that guy made me laugh. Anyway, so yeah, DC. I think Steve's gonna. You're gonna be there Sunday, correct? Monday?
Yeah,
Sunday?
no, I get so. Y'all know me in airplanes, right?
Steve is the worst luck.
Right.
The worst.
So guess what? So yesterday, I was in the middle of something. I can't remember what it was, but I get a phone call and I'm like, oh fuck. I had that feeling, man. I did, and I was like, I didn't know the number, nothing like that. And I'm like, here we go. Hello. And it's someone who was poorly pronouncing my name and asking for me. And I'm like, so what's this in reference to? And she's like, this is United Airlines. I'm like, you should lead with that. Yeah. She starts laughing. I'm like, so how screwed am I? Because I had talked to Kendra earlier in the day, and she was like, yo, dude, your flight's getting canceled, homie. Denver's getting like 2-3 feet of snow from Saturday night to Sunday night. You're host, and I'm like, shit. So I had already I used a third-party booking agent for my shit because it's cheaper and I'm poor. And they can't do shit for me, and they're like, yeah, United canceled all of their flights. They're rerouting everyone. And I'm like, well, can't you do that? They're like, no, we can't. I'm like, well, I can't afford $700 on a ticket right now, so I guess I'm gonna risk it and get host, and so that was where my mindset was. I pick up the phone and she's like, yeah, we've rerouted you, and so now instead of flying out of the San Jose airport, which is literally like right over the hill and maybe a long half hour short 45 minutes from me, I now fly out of San Francisco. And instead of getting there at like 3:30, I get there at 4:30. But I get there at 4:30 Sunday on a completely different flight. Hopefully my return flight doesn't get fucked, but it's usually the return flight that they fuck me on.
Maybe they just switched it up this time. Keep you on your toes.
Right. So I'll be oh, and instead of flying into Reagan, I now fly in way the fuck out in the middle of nowhere.
Nice.
And yeah. Hooray.
Well, I'll be getting there Tuesday. I'm going to leave here like Tuesday afternoon. I'll be there in time. We can film the vigil in DC. I
will probably be driving Tuesday night after work, so I might have to just watch the vigil or be audio only, because I probably won't have the bandwidth for video.
Yeah,
we tried that. It just doesn't work on the drive through the mountains.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was pretty. Yeah, it wasn't.
That was the Richard Medhurst interview. Yeah.
I'd rather you just drive driving, dude. You know what I'm saying? Especially at night. I'm gonna have I'll be there in time to do like a later slow news day from wherever I end up settling in for that night, which has to happen because in addition to like having, I think, our second episode since we went
and joined MCSC. Slow News Day itself has an announcement to make, and we are doing some expanding that we are really fucking stoked about.
Nice, dude.
So that's gonna happen. Got some stuff cooking for Monday. Tuesday, I'm going to hope that there are a handful of people that will help finish up like build, puppet builds and shit like that, because Glory and I are going to go to Baltimore. Why are we going to Baltimore, you may ask?
To see Reverend Annie, of course.
To see Reverend Annie Chambers.
Please give her a hug for me. I love her.
And then I'll be back in Baltimore on Friday too. I'm
Nice.
gonna go back for an extended conversation.
Well, what time I get there on Tuesday really just depends on what time I get my sorry ass up out of bed and get moving.
Mhm.
I can leave really at any time. So
What time is the place available, Andrew?
Monday afternoon. I think we can drop
I think
off
4. I think he said
1.
Monday at 4.
Yeah, we can drop off luggage at 1 and be in at 4.
Cool. Yeah, so I'll be there Tuesday sometime evening-ish. Definitely before 9 o'clock for the vigil. I'll be there for the vigil for sure. And then, yeah, we have actions on Wednesday. So we have noon. We're going to be having our stuff, Action for Assange stuff, from noon until 2. And then immediately following that will be the Fuck Censorship March. So it's like a day full of fun. So if you are in the DC area, or if you're not in the DC area, and you want to come, please come. We need lots and lots and lots and lots of people.
And straight up, dude, hit us up. Like,
yes.
anytime between now and then, and we will do our goddamnedest to help like pair you with somebody, get a ride share thing going. If need be, we can hit up a couple of our friends that are like, that already have 5 million fucking websites and shit like that, or we can throw a ride share thing onto the cloversforassange.com or something.
Hit me up on Twitter. I mean, seriously,
we'll fucking find a way to make this happen, dude. We don't have a lot of resources, but we have a lot of give a damn, and we have a lot of friends. So like we're willing to use like whatever limited resources and connections we have to help with this.
We don't have a lot of resources, but we are very resourceful.
And we like, we are fucking, we are busy and shit, but don't ever, there's a ton of other show hosts that watch this vigil and watch Slow News Day and watch Facts on the Ground. Like, don't ever think that you can't hit us up to be like, hey, can you come on? Cynthia McKinney came on Slow News Day when I had like 77 subscribers. I will go on anyone's show.
Right. And it's funny because I was actually just talking to Keith McHenry about this, not on camera. I think we talked about it before, about how I get really nervous about asking people to be on my show. And he like giggled at me because he's like, yeah, I've been following you on Twitter for a long time. Like, and I'm like, that's always weird when people like I respect say that. And I'm like, but I'm like, I get super nervous about, and I'm like, it took me months to ask Steve, and he's my friend. It took me months to ask Nico, and he's my friend. Like that's just the way it rolls. Like, but yeah, like I'll come, like, I don't care how many subscribers you have. If you want me to come on your show, I'll come on your show and shoot the shit with you. But I will also help you if I can. Again, I don't have like a ton of connections, but if I can find you somebody cooler than me, because there's lots of people cooler than me, I'll help you find another guest to cover Julian Assange. But if you want to cover our protest, if you want to give our protest a shout, hit us up and we will get you the information that you need for that. If you want to come to the protest and you need a ride, or you want to find somebody to carpool with or whatever, we will do whatever we can to make this as successful as possible. We put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into the past almost 2 years doing this stuff. And so, I mean, we're doing it for a reason. Like, we really, really, really want this to be successful and to make a lot of noise and call attention to Julian Assange and press freedom. But we can't do that without you. Like, we can't. Like, I know that's very cliche and like corny, but we really can't do it without you. It's just not possible.
It's not even that it's cliche or corny. It's just, it's fucking facts. And we're in an era where people don't like facts. all that much, or like,
Right.
you know, I mean, everybody's hurting, everybody's struggling, everybody's fucking assed out, and to have people like constantly be like, hey, I need your help with this, I need your help with this.
The only reason I thought it sounded cliche is because politicians say it a lot. We can't do this without you, and I hate when they say that, like those tired lines. So it annoys me. But
yeah, no, I mean, I get that, and fucking part of what we're, you know, part of what makes this particularly frustrating at times is that all of the language of activism has been so severely co-opted that intentionally, in order to make it watered down, to make it meaningless, to turn it into a cliche, and to make people inherently skeptical. You know, and look, you should be, you know, everybody should wake up skeptical, yeah, about something, you know, but
be like me and be skeptical about literally everything.
yeah, and the thing is, like, I don't know, man, actions speak a fucking lot louder than words, and there are a lot of people that do a lot of fundraising that don't ever fucking leave their comfy little offices, don't ever put themselves in harm's way, or ever put themselves out into the streets, or even have conversations with people outside of their ideological bubble,
or even hire people to go put out in the streets. Like, when's the last time TYT had somebody in the streets doing a report? I don't remember that. Like, before Jordan, when they fired Jordan, I think that's probably the last time that they've ever really done any actual reporting, rather than just mainstream media clip. Let's chat about it. You know, like, that's really all they do. But yeah, there's a lot of
even with Jordan, like, he's got a cameraman. They don't really go out.
Yeah, he doesn't really do
go out. It's to make a gotcha video about some Trump supporters.
Yeah, those are really gross to me.
Yeah. But I will say, God, I can never remember his last name. He's a Johnny too. Status Quo's cameraman. That dude's solid.
Yeah,
he's a good guy. He deserves a raise or a better boss.
Yes, he's a super nice guy. He does amazing work. He works really hard. And you're right, he deserves a better boss. Or I mean, I don't know how much he gets paid, but I hope it's significant, because he deserves it.
I complimented him on a Twitter thread, and fucking, what's her name, Jen Dyes, I think. She was like, he got a bonus for being at the Capitol, and I'm like, wow. I dropped the gif of the point flying over somebody's head, and them looking at it and watching it and shrugging.
It's telling that she gets defensive, though. Just saying. But a lot of independent media right now, that's what it is. You're right. They sit behind their little desk, and they're like, with their, you know, little screens behind them and their microphone, and that's all they do. Like, that's all they do. And that's okay. Like, that's facts on the ground. That's mostly what I mean, granted, it's been the time of COVID, so it's a little bit more difficult. But that's all they have ever done. You're not going to see like a Kyle Kulinski out in the street interviewing protesters, or
the only time you see Kyle Kulinski in the street, it's when he's walking into Politicon.
Right.
That's it.
Yeah.
That's the only time he has supporters meet him in the street, is it's when it's for a convention.
Humanist Report, whatever that. What's that? Mike something.
Figueredo.
Yeah, that guy. Like, that's not the kind of thing they do. And listen, I'm not like, that's fine if that's your thing. There's a spot for that. I mean, obviously their shows are popular, and there's a spot for that. But what we're hoping to accomplish is more activism centered work. Like, I really don't like when people say I'm a journalist, or that, like, I'm not. But you know, the rest of MCSC, they really are, you know, that's what they do. They are journalists. So yeah, I think that the whole goal is to do more activism centered journalism, more in the streets, more organizing, you know, teaching people how to be effective organizers, and showing people effective organizing and protests and all of that stuff, because we have passed the point where direct action is like necessary. You know, like this is it's paramount. Like, we have to get people in the fucking streets. We have to.
Well, and for me at least, we part of what we're going to be doing with MCSC as a network, as a crew, is dragging the media landscape up the evolutionary ladder entirely against their will. And this, I mean, I can't stop talking about it because it's affected me so much and how I view this whole media world. But what Kevin Gostola told us, which is to do the work that nobody's doing, do it consistently, and even if they hate you, they'll have to report on your work because you're the only one doing it. So we're going to do that for determining and creating and establishing a new standard in independent media, and that, like, so that when 6 months from now, 8 months from now, a year or two from now, when you look back at shows like Secular Talk or you know, the Humanist Report, or fucking whatever morning show Crystal Ball gets paid to run fucking limited hangouts on, you're gonna be like, that's quaint, that's cute. I remember when people used to do that, you know, and that format is going to be looked at as antiquated, lazy, and disingenuous because it's antiquated, lazy, and disingenuous.
Yeah, especially the whole I'm only going to report on the things that mainstream media covers, but I might make fun of the way that they covered it while I'm covering it. Like, I don't need independent media was supposed to get people away from mainstream media. And it seems like they're just force feeding them more mainstream media, but just like they also are kind of like sarcastically making fun of the way mainstream media may have covered something, or sometimes they just cover what mainstream media covered. And that's kind of, you know, the opposite of the point of what independent media was supposed to do. So yeah, it's disappointing to see so many of the bigger platforms slide into that so easily, which, I mean, I get it. I'm sure it's very tempting to chase the clicks and the subscriptions and the Patreons. And I get that. I'm not here for that, though. Really not. I'm just not. I mean, I'm not here for that. I don't care. I mean, I care, but I don't care if anybody watches anything I do. I do it for me. I do it because I think this stuff is important and I want to talk about it. And I like to talk to interesting people. And that having a show gives me the chance to do that. I've talked to some mind-blowingly cool people, which is excellent. But yeah, that's why it's always just really funny when people like label. First of all, the whole grifter thing, I'm going to rant a little bit about this. Sorry, guys, but the whole grifter thing pisses me the fuck off. Why do you have a problem with people being compensated for their work? Nobody's forcing you to donate to them. If other people see value in their work and they want to donate to them so that they can make a living and maybe buy some new equipment or whatever, then just shut the fuck up about it. It has nothing to do with you. This is people put a lot of work into their shows. I put a lot of work into my show. But people who, solicit donations or have Patreons or PayPals or premiums or whatever it is, there's nothing wrong with that. They're doing incredible work. They're covering things you probably wouldn't otherwise see coverage about. So if you don't like that person, that doesn't mean that they're just a grifter just because you don't like them. That's the hypocrisy of calling everybody I don't like a grifter while you head off to go watch Secular Talk. You're the biggest hypocrite on planet Earth, and you need to just shut up. Like, I'm so tired of it. People deserve to be compensated for their work. And if there's people who find value in someone's channel and they want to donate, that is none of your business. So just shut up.
This goes back to what we were talking about the other day on Franco's show. And if you guys have been like, in those chats or on those shows, this is not going to be new information, and I apologize if it's repetitive, but I really did just fucking in the middle of that stream, it sort of came to me, and it really comes down to people now have not just an emotional but a financial stake in their content creators, because that people, rightly, wrongly, rationally, or irrationally form emotional attachments to the people that they see on the screen, telling them things that fucking make the dopamine go off and shit like that, you know? So when you accurately, politely or impolitely critique or criticize a content creator, that's not what it is. It's not a rational assessment of the content of this show. It becomes a personal attack on your financial and emotional investing. And people flip the fuck out because you're coming after their heartstrings and their purse strings, because they have irrationally formed an emotional attachment to the person on the other side of the camera. And that's what that's exactly what we're dealing with.
Yes. Well,
and I'm not saying that to be a dick. I'm not saying that
right.
to be, is some kind of fucking, monster or anything like that. I'm telling you that this is a realization that I came to, and I'm putting it out there for you guys to think about, I guess, decide whether or not you agree with that assessment. I'm not saying that this is how it is. I'm saying that this is what it seems.
I think there's something there. It's probably not the same for everybody, but I think that there is something to it. I just wish that people, like, for example, I support a lot of different independent media channels. And some of the ones that I support financially, I don't agree with them all the time. And that's okay with me. Like, I don't know why people think that you have to agree with, I don't agree with myself 100% of the time. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, everybody, it's like the whole, if you have somebody on your show, then you're co-signing everything they've ever done in their entire life. That doesn't make any sense. And if you're a supporter of somebody's work, you need to also understand that that person is human. They're going to get stuff wrong. They're going to say stuff you don't agree with. They're going to say stuff you don't like. And you have to be a grown-up and know that, and just be like, okay, so we disagree on this, but 90% of what that person does, I support. So the lionizing of politicians and content creators is a very weird thing to me. Like when I criticize Kyle Kalinske, and then for the next 4 days I have to deal with people in my Twitter mentions freaking the fuck out because I had valid criticisms of Kyle Kalinske. That's weird. Like, that's weird. He has no idea you exist. It's just very strange to me, the level of celebrity and just weird. It's like I don't know if it's like an obsession or if it's, you're right though. I think it's, these people have put in not only an emotional investment, just, from being a fan of somebody for so long. But once you start donating to somebody, you now have a financial stake in that person, in that show. And so when it gets criticized, it feels like somebody's personally attacking you and your decision to support it. And you need to just take a step back and, and especially if you are donating to somebody, I would think you would want them to be, criticized when it's necessary and held accountable and, pushed to do better. And that, to me, that seems like a no-brainer. But a lot of people just get really defensive.
Well, it's happened to me where, right, I was once a consumer and donator of tons of independent media. I had lots of friends that had YouTube channels. We started doing the vigils, and then they just all disappeared. Because what happens, right, if you're someone that's donating and someone that feels some type of investment towards some type of independent content creator, the moment you start asking them to do something where you're like, hey, check out this article, and you're like, hey, look at this thing about genocide, like, have you covered this? Like, hey, why haven't you put out more videos about Assange? Like, here's this recent court update. And then you realize that those people aren't there to cover truthful information. They're there to make money and to produce a media environment that makes them money.
Right.
And outside of that, you are just being manipulated within their game. And the moment you try to have them take a stand that would in any way jeopardize them, they walk away from you, which is what makes MCSC and Nico House so fucking awesome, is because they're the people that aren't there trying to just mill money. They're the people they're willing to take hits so that way real information can get out.
Well, Nico didn't even hesitate like
No.
when you guys asked him if we could stream the vigils on MCSE. It was just like, absolute. And he constantly will say, I was honored that you even asked me. Like he finds the Assange thing to be so important that he finds it to be an honor to be a part of it and to help spread the information. So, I mean, that's why I always say he's a real one. I get it. He has a very strong personality. He can be kind of, cocky and combative, and that's just who he is.
It's fun. If you've ever got to,
I love it, but I get it. Like when you have a strong personality, like I literally, you guys know how much I love my like t-shirts. I literally have a t-shirt that says I'm not for everyone. And I get that. Like I do have kind of a stronger personality. Some people are going to like it. Some people are going to hate me, and that's fine. But what I don't like is when Nico gets shit on all the time and when people call Nico a grifter, it makes me angry, because Steve's absolutely right. The fact that he, without hesitation, agreed to stream the vigils and we didn't have to ask him to cover Assange. He always kind of did that. But there was never, I don't even think he gave it any thought that, but if I stream Assange content, it's going to hurt my channel. It's going to hurt my money. It's going to hurt my,
He knew exactly what was going to happen to the channel. He knew exactly what was going to happen to the view counts and this is why, like, when Reverend Annie was talking about the Black Panthers going to Cuba, right? Because this is a part of American history that we all, either know about or are now going to rush out to learn about, right? The Black Panthers in Cuba. When Reverend Annie was talking about it, because she went, she said the first thing that Castro told us was never go anywhere without 10 or 12 of you. Always, 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 always. Roll deep.
Roll deep.
And I mean, that's one of the motivators behind all of this, is that mentality. And we've got a fuck ton of work to do. So much. But many hands make light work, right? Like, everybody's got something that they're good at. Everybody's got different angles of approach and ways to contribute. And
ways we can help each other and learn from each other, and grow through that process and boost each other and, protect each other, back each other up. There really is strength in numbers. And I honestly, I know we already talked about how it was very organic, how we all sort of like formed these, like we all met each other in our own like unique, weird ways, but we all came together as a group, like in this very strange, organic matter. But I can't think of better people that I want to be on this journey with, that I would want to, these are some of the like most dedicated and loyal and supportive people I've ever come across. So yeah, I'm really excited for everything that's coming up on MCSC. I'm excited to see what all we can do. Steve's right. We have a lot of fucking work, you guys. I'm already tired. Just thinking about it. Well, I was already tired from the last 2 years, but I'm tired just thinking about all the stuff we need to do. But yeah, hopefully we can start to turn the tide in independent media at least a little bit, because it's desperate. We're desperate. We desperately need a shift in consciousness.
We're getting there. We are fucking
Slowly.
close.
Yeah. Slowly but surely. All right, kids. Should we wrap it up?
Yeah,
I'm interviewing
I've got so much
NPP.
shit to do, and I barely started packing yesterday. And
yeah, in an hour, I have an interview with a couple of former MPP members or volunteers who are going to talk about their experience. It's the people that Franco interviewed recently. If anybody saw that. So I'm not really like a party person. You guys know I don't like electoral politics, but I'm just interested to see the kinds of things that they experienced in attempting to form a new party and how that all went down, because it's not been pretty. So yeah, 4:00, Jessie and I are going to be interviewing them. And that video should be up later, maybe today, maybe tomorrow, depends. So yeah, that's what I'm going to be doing later this evening.
Yeah, I'm pretty much away from, well, there's an ABB tonight. So I'll be around for at least some of that. for some, and then I'll be in the air during the day tomorrow, but we are going to have I can do all this when I close.
Yeah. Okay.
My name is Andrew Smith. You can follow me on Twitter at Andrew Zigman. You can follow us on Twitter at action_4Assange. You can find
Jazz
all
hands,
of our,
Andrew. Thank you.
You can find all of our call to actions on the website, actionforassange.com. We have all of the events that we'll be doing in Washington, D.C. listed on there for the 17th and 18th. If you scroll past down a little bit, there's tons of call to actions that are so relevant still. Every member of the Australian Parliament's email address is in there. We have tons of different House of Representatives members. We have support for the old Tulsi Massey bill, tons of stuff. Our coordination with Reporters Without Borders from September last year. But thank you. Thank you guys for making DC possible. Thank you for tuning in and making the vigils worth doing. We'd be doing it anyways, but having you here with us, helping us share this information just really makes it worthwhile. So thank you to Josh for helping out with the 1s and 2s, Steve and Misty for hopping in today, and I just look forward to seeing everybody on the ground in DC.
And I am Misty Winston. You can find me on Twitter at Sarcasm Stardust. I have another show called Facts on the Ground with Jessie Zerwell. We just interviewed Keith McHenry. I think that video went up today. We spent about 2 hours with him discussing a little bit of his backstory and the backstory of how Food Not Bombs got started and the pressures that they're facing now in Santa Cruz, and the importance of mutual aid moving forward, which I preach about all the time. So it was super cool to talk to somebody as seasoned as him. And let's see what else. Oh, so the letter writing campaign still going at it. It kind of got a little less organized around Mondays just because we were kind of waiting for the AG to be approved and all that stuff. So I'm going to try to get it back on track as far as like scheduling goes. But you can write to AG Merrick Garland. I can get you the address if you need it, but it's super easy to find online. And also you can keep going at Joe Biden. And then I think maybe we might start branching off and trying to look at potential members of Congress that we can try to pull in a more public way. I mean, I know that there's a couple who have been sort of supportive in the past, but we need to try. Basically, we just need to get as much publicity, I think, around it. So if we can start reaching out to, I mean, even if we go back to maybe just tweeting at celebrities and trying to get them to talk about it or something like that. I don't know. I think that right now we're at the point where we just need, like we always say, mass public pressure. But I think if we can get like really public figures with large platforms to talk about it, that would be very, very helpful. So yeah, if you want to keep writing to the AG, please do that. Thank you to everybody, like Andrew said, for donating for the trip to DC. I'm really excited to go again and make some noise. Thanks to Jessie Jett for coming on the show and performing his music for us. I love him so much. His stuff's on Bandcamp. Please go check it out and support his work if you're able to. He's an awesome dude. He makes awesome music. So yeah, definitely check that out. And I always feel like I'm forgetting stuff, you guys, literally every day. I don't know. I'm sure it couldn't be that important if I'm forgetting it. So hopefully I'm not forgetting anything. That's real big.
I'm Steve Poikin, and I host a show called Slow News Day with my better than your co-host, Glory Jones. We have a huge announcement that we're going to be making tomorrow night. I don't have a time for that yet because I'm not 100% sure when I'm going to get settled in or even where I'm going to be sleeping. But that's just how I roll. You can find our stuff at slownewsdayshow.com. I hope that the website is the first place you go. I'm encouraging people to start looking for like all of their content creators stuff at the point of website first, and not looking to social media platforms to take their hand on where they can find their stuff. Outside of that, Rockfin.
Dude, that means I have to start a website.
Slow News Day just passed 3,500 subscribers on Rockfin. I would like to lap YouTube before they kick us off. So if you're watching this on YouTube and you're not signed up on Rockfin, please go do that, dude. I understand that making a new account for something sounds like a drag, but look, dude, this is if it's not Rockfin or it's not Odyssey, soon you're not going to be able to see our stuff, you know. And
I don't think Odyssey makes you sign up.
I'm not
cool.
sure. No, you need a library account. Oh,
yeah.
That's true.
But Rockfin's way cooler. I'm just saying.
Yeah. Well, Rockfin is what allows us to continue to do this at this point, you know. And again, man, like I work my ass off. I don't like asking for money. I don't, but in order to do the show full time, we're going to have to. So we're going to make a point to like demonstrate the work, you know, and part of that definitely is going to be, you know, in person on the ground coverage. But another part of that is just the ridiculous amount of research that goes into putting together a Slow News Day show. Currently in the middle of a 700+ page document that we are going to meticulously go through on the program. Like, you know, fucking, this is not putting on a shirt that screams, I'm a cock, and sitting in a comfortable chair and rolling mainstream media clips all day. This is not what this is. So if you guys can, please join us in DC. March 17th, March 18th, Clovers for Assange. It is going to be wonderful. It is going to be incredibly high energy. It's going to be a lot of fun. We hope you can join us. If you can't join us, we do have a couple of ways that you can help. And then if you are interested in holding your own event, please get at us. We'll do whatever we can to help you get that off the ground last minute. If you're anywhere near any of the other major cities that are holding events, please get out there. I think we're up to 14 internationally now, maybe 15. At Candles, the number 4 Assange, will have the exact time and place of all of those events. Thank you, Alex Hills. You are freaking awesome.
Oh, I love it.
There's a whole bunch of people that we need to thank from the Go Get funding, but I don't have that up in front of me. So we'll make sure that we do that when we're doing a live stream from Washington, D.C., because that's the next time you're going to see us on a vigil is live in Washington, D.C. Big thanks to Andrew, Misty, Sleepy Josh, on the ones and twos, everybody out there watching and helping and supporting. We love you guys. You're fucking awesome. We will see you soon. Good luck to us all.